Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Sherlock, Season 4, Episode 3. It's called The Final Problem. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. Now, we have had a pretty negative outlook in this season so far. Episode 1, we were both pretty down on. Episode 2, we weren't quite as harsh on, or at least I wasn't. But it's still more negative than a lot of people seem to be. Most people seem to agree with us in Episode 1, not so much in Episode 2. We really hated the ending of Episode 2, which set up this final episode. So, needless to say, our outlook going into this one was a little bit
muted.
Expectations were not high, per se, which could be a benefit. It could mean that it might surprises and it might have given us...
Many a time have I gone into something expecting the worst, and then it's been a pleasant surprise because of that.
Aye, exactly. So, I'm just clarifying. I'm just sort of summing up the journey so far in terms of feelings. How did you feel about the final problem? I'm almost scared to ask.
I honestly am not entirely sure.
That's the most positive you've been all season, so I guess that's a good thing. It is.
I'm really torn. Because there were bits that I really liked, and then there were bits that I really hated. And I'm not sure which one outweighs the other.
Interesting. I would also say this is the best episode of the season. I do have critiques of several things. I like the general setup of what this episode is, and to say it is a psychotic woman putting Sherlock and co through a series of mind games.
Yeah, that core principle is fantastic.
Yeah, that core idea of them going through all these rooms and these games and these tests, and I hated her reveal last week, right? Yoroshi's reveal last week I hated. I thought it was goofy. It came out, it felt hackneyed.
This episode does utterly nothing to justify it.
It doesn't, that scene didn't even need to happen.
It didn't, because one, it's Moffat's himself out of it, because he does the exact same thing he does in Doctor Who. Every cliffhanger is, oh, they're dead, and it's like, oh, they're not dead, because of course they're not.
Do you know what my problem was? It wasn't even the reveal that Watson, obviously he wasn't going to die, it's Watson.
No,
but my problem wasn't that he'd survived it, or it was a cop-out. I'm fine with all of those things. My problem was how it was revealed that it was a cop-out.
Yeah, that was...
He just walked onto the screen as if... And, oh, by the way, a line about a tranquilizer about 2 lines in. Okay, sure. Fine.
Yeah, there's another time that happens during this episode that annoys me as well, actually. I'll get to that.
There's a couple of weird cuts where it kind of excludes information. The other stuff that I didn't think needed to happen in this episode, the funny thing is I liked the idea when it started, and this is the drone with the grenade on it, and they all can't move because it's a motion sensor. Because I actually thought at this point, I bet this lasts like half the episode, and it's going to be a lot of fun stuff with them not being able to move. And I was
debating in the room.
And my head was going crazy with these ideas of how this was going to go, and I thought they were all fun. It was over in about 3 minutes, and which not necessarily a problem. Like if the rest of the episode's good, and for the most part it kind of was, so fine. But the problem is why did it happen? It didn't need to happen. Like because all that had to happen is they go to Mycroft. Hey, my sister's alive? What's this about? I don't remember her. And he goes, yeah, I've got her in this prison. They go to prison. But we get this scene of this explosive, and then they go to prison.
Like, I'm okay with the first scene. It's a convoluted plan, but that makes sense given that it's Sherlock and Mycroft.
Yeah.
I can buy that. It's annoying because we didn't need it completely ignores the reveal at the end of the last episode for all intents and purposes, going, oh, well, we know she's out and she's around. You could have just had him find out the information. The funny thing is, though,
is nothing in this episode actually feels that she has been out and around.
She doesn't. That's what I was questioning a few times. It's like, they're going, how'd she get out? It's like, okay, she got out, but why did she come back? What's the point?
It would almost have been more interesting as if everything that had happened did lead to her, but she'd done it all from here. Like it was all just...
I think it would have been more interesting.
Because they set this idea up that she can manipulate just about anyone. Anyone who's... With the exception maybe Sherlock and Moriarty, who are high enough intellectually... Well, no, I meant Moriarty.
See, that I completely disagree on.
No, see, I think you're reading into this too much.
I don't know if I am.
No, so you're taking the Moriarty thing as that she's been controlling Moriarty from the time he went in there. I don't necessarily see that.
See, I don't know.
Because the whole point of Moriarty is that he's capable of matching Holmes, right? He's his arch nemesis.
Sure.
Right? To me, that meeting wasn't, I can control him now. To me, that meeting was, this is because she what did she say at the end? She says, "Oh, we got on like peas in a pod" or something like that. Like I see that
House
as
on fire.
yeah, house on fire. There you go. Probably more apt given
Yeah,
the backstory.
that's what she said. It.
Yeah. So, yeah, I
I don't know.
I think you're jumping to that because you hate it and you want to be angry about it.
It's possible, but it feels like that's what they were at least insinuating was the possibility.
I get that she influenced him and probably influenced a lot of his plans. Yes, but I don't think she was controlling him in the same way that she was controlling other people. I think Moriarty's too smart for that.
I'd love to be able to agree, but I'm not convinced.
And to be fair, when he arrives at the place and he talks to Mike, he's already into Holmes. He's already obsessed with him.
Yeah, but this 5 years ago, I'm trying to think where we are in the timeline. Like, what year are we in for this?
Oh God, I don't know.
Because it would have been.
This is still set in 2014, I think. But that doesn't even make
Right.
sense because that would be before season 1. But does that make sense?
Yeah, because it has to be before season 1.
Right,
That's
okay.
what I'm saying. Is that this is before he meets Sherlock and does all that stuff in season 1.
Right,
So
okay.
everything from then onwards is then influenced by this, which I hate.
Yeah, it's convoluted, don't get me wrong. But it didn't shove it down my throat like I thought they were going to, though.
They didn't, but they just left it just enough that I'm kind of annoyed by it.
To me, it was subtle enough that you could actually read into it however you wanted, which is how we read different things from it, and I think that's okay. As much as I disliked the reveal last week, I dislike how convoluted it was to get to her. I actually think she justifies her own existence.
Well, yeah, that's because she's basically Maxwell Lord.
Who's Maxwell Lord? Most people watching this probably won't know who that is. Colin.
Right, yes. So from DC Comics, he has pretty much the same thing where he can persuade and make them do.
Except it's an actual
anything.
superpower rather than
Yeah.
intellect. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, okay, that's cool. I like this power elsewhere, so sure, why not?
Well, it was that, but it was also just her acting crazy in the cell. Like I thought the actress was doing a good job. I like her in the role.
Yeah.
But the whole time I was going, why did we have these appearances the last couple of episodes?
It made no sense.
I don't think
I don't
they
get
needed to be there. It was weird. And obviously they do the fake out with Moriarty where it cuts to him coming in and you think it's present day. And you think, oh, Moriarty's here coming off the helicopter. And I enjoyed the scene well enough, Queen's playing.
Oh, I didn't think it was meant to be present day at all. I thought it was very clear that it was.
Oh, well, no, because they didn't want it to be clear because that's why the title saying Christmas Day 5 years ago doesn't happen until we see Mycroft.
Yeah. I just assumed it was so, like.
That was they definitely wanted you to think that.
Right, okay. I just thought instantly, I was like, okay, so this is before he was dead, obviously.
Nah, they were clearly playing this as no. He just came up on the screen saying, "Miss me, I'm back" or whatever. Then the helicopter comes in, Queen's playing. He's making his operatic entrance.
Yeah,
Which I enjoyed the entrance in and of itself.
I did, and I get what you're saying, but I just it never even crossed my mind that it was supposed to be present day.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be. But then, of course, they tie it back into what they said earlier on, that she had a Christmas treat. Mycroft bought her a treat that he shouldn't have on Christmas, and it turned out to be Moriarty. She wanted to talk to him. And I think the biggest problem with all this, though, is in tying this all back to everything, is it does feel kind of like... It feels kind of retconned, and you don't really believe that they had this planned the entire time.
No, not at all, which is kind of what even if she wasn't controlling him, it's very clearly she was in on it all.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand why. Why does that matter?
She's been playing the chess game the entire time, yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of annoys me as well. It's like, well, what's the point? It was fine as it was. I didn't need that.
Honestly, that doesn't bother me that much because it doesn't... Like I say, it's left vague enough and it doesn't affect as much as you really think it does. The bigger problem I have is the whole Sherlock doesn't remember her, nor does he remember his ginger friend, who was actually the dog that they kept talking about, Redbeard, throughout the whole episode. Turned out to be a ginger, which amused me because Redbeard.
Of course.
Yeah. Come on, Redbeard, ginger, come on.
I get it. I got it.
Right, it's funny. But my problem is the magic TV select amnesia bollocks. That bothers me more than anything that happens with the sister in this episode specifically.
I get it. It's very annoying.
Like I say though, once she's taken control, and the games start, and she starts like making them do, Sherlock, pick one of them to shoot him, and so on, and
Yeah, I like this part of the episode for the most part.
yeah, all this in the games. The scene with Molly, that
Very
was really good, and like I thought there was a couple of good moments with it. The one thing I liked about the grenade scene, all in the I liked the grenade setup in and of itself, but then it just felt pointless afterwards because I was like, we could have just skipped that. There was no need
And
for
that was the worst part, actually, the edit out of it, where
the slow motion jump out the window.
all right, well, okay, so that looked awful, frankly, like just
Do you know
straight
what?
up awful.
It looked bad, but you know what? I'll at least accept that they'll try to do an action movie thing there. The other jump, there was 2 jumps in this episode that looked bad, and the other one was like 2 minutes later. It was on the boat. We're introduced to these characters on a ship, and they come out, and Sherlock's standing on top of the boat, and he says he's a pirate, and he jumps down in slow motion like he's Batman, and it made
And
me
his coat comes out like
yeah,
a cape.
and it made me burst out laughing.
I know, I agree.
It is,
And,
by the way, it's only the first of 2 times that I will reference this to Batman in this episode.
but back to the bit before.
Aye.
Yes, the CG in the jump, it looked awful.
Yeah, but the thing I liked in that scene, though, I wanted to mention, from
Yes.
a character perspective, is when Mycroft said, "Get rid of John. This is family business," and Sherlock's, "No, that's why he's staying here."
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea that they've grown as a pair, and Sherlock has been a bit more emotive and caring about people.
I did like that stuff, yeah.
And the
but
Molly,
then,
and again with the Molly stuff, it was forcing him to bring that out and forcing him to do it.
yeah.
I like that, and although I do think it suffers a little bit from the fact that the whole Molly having a crush on him thing has kind of been gone for how long? Like, when was the last time that was even?
It was probably only about 3 episodes ago. It's just that was about 4 years.
Okay, fair point, but it feels like a long time ago.
I agree. Don't get me wrong.
It feels like a long time ago.
I'm just in its defense on that one. It probably was only a
True,
handful of
true,
episodes ago.
Do you know, I will say this though. See the coffin, the casket, in the
It
room.
looked really small.
Yeah, I thought it was a kid's, and then they immediately say no, it can't be a kid's. It must be a small woman's, and I'm like, that doesn't even look like it fit like a 5'4" woman.
I thought it was meant to be a kid's one as well.
It looked
I was
tiny.
like, it did. Maybe we're just overestimating the size of coffins, but
I don't think I am.
I didn't think I was either. They're not small things, are they? They're quite big and heavy.
I've seen a lot of coffins in various other media, and they never look that small unless it's a kid.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was straight up going, okay, so this is a kid.
But then he uses it in his deductive reasoning to figure out who it's for. And I'm like, okay, I'll go with it, but it looks wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Weird.
Anyhow, but yeah, like I say, I liked all these rooms in the games, and the emotional stuff that came out in that one was good. The Mycroft being a dick intentionally to make it easier for him to shoot him, I liked that too.
I like that a lot, other than the fact that the music underneath was the theme from Interstellar. And it really took me out of the moment. I couldn't stop noticing it.
You mean similar to the theme from Interstellar?
No. It's like harmonically identical.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's not the actual recording.
Yeah, but it was like note for note the same almost. It's like, oh my god, this is just that. It had like the rhythmic beats as well. It was all there. It was like all they did was take it off the organ.
Yeah, honestly, I've actually said most of my main complaints, other than a couple of things about the ending that I didn't like.
Okay, I've got a couple still. Going back to when they jumped out and out the window.
Right, okay.
And
Right.
before it gets to the boat, I was really confused because I felt like we'd missed a chunk because it didn't address Miss Hudson.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were like, oh, she's downstairs. We saw her down there doing her hoovering, and then it cuts as soon as we get out of it.
She was listening to Iron Maiden, I believe, as well.
She was, yes. And then that's it. They forget about her. They don't even mention her again until the very end of the episode where they're cleaning up the flat and she just kind of walks in.
Yeah, because obviously they establish in the scene that, we'll wait until she's at that part of the house because that'll be the safest she'll get for us to make our move. Yeah, they don't address it. Yeah, you're right.
It felt really weird that they didn't even mention it.
The whole sneaking into the base and dressing up. Now, they do address it in dialogue and they say, we don't know who to trust, so we had to do it this way. Because the entire time I was thinking, mate, Mycroft is the one in charge of all this shit. Doesn't he just walk in and be like...
Yeah, just fly a helicopter in and go, oi, get out.
Yeah, with Queen plane, of course. That's how you enter this place, apparently.
Well, yeah, to be fair, we have seen him in the palace.
Well, yeah. They address it in dialogue. They say, we can't trust anyone, so we had to do it this way. It just felt a little bit, I don't know, goofy. However...
It was a bit hokey, wasn't it? It was like, costume for costume's sake.
Once Sherlock steps into that cell, and it's like Hannibal Lecter style, with his sister, from that point on, I really enjoyed the episode.
Yeah, and not the first time it makes you think of that movie either.
No.
I mean, they mention it, I believe. Like, they reference how it's similar to that.
There's also a person in a well.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like, okay.
So yeah, all the games, liked all those. Liked all that throughout. Girl on the plane was fun. I had a sneaking suspicion pretty much the entire time that it wasn't really a girl on the plane. There was a metaphor thing, or it was being played somehow. The actual revelation that it's her being like schizophrenic or whatever, and that this is her wanting Sherlock to play with her kind of thing, and
yeah,
it's her like breaking down and she's like slipping into this personality. I didn't love it, but it's fine. If you have to wrap it up, then
yeah, that's the thing. I'm not really sold on it though.
Yeah, it wasn't as interesting. Like I feel like I would rather he outsmart her. I mean, I don't mind the idea that she does get captured and she's kind of more reserved, that she's more comatose and less responsive at the end. But it was just the whole, he comes in and that's her the entire time, and she's been slipping into this voice of the girl like throughout the episode. It just, again, it starts to feel a little bit back to the hokey and convoluted again.
It does.
My other complaints about the ending, a couple of editing things or pacing things or just script leaving things out things. So he hugs his sister and he's like, help me save John. We cut to John in the well and a rope falls.
And he starts climbing. No, he reaches up and grabs the rope, but he was chained. His feet were chained to the bottom. They established that.
His feet were chained. I'll do it. I'll assume someone went down. That's not my problem with it.
No, but my problem was he grabbed the rope and started like as if he was trying to climb up.
Well, I think the idea is that he was just trying to like, get a bit higher, so he's like his head's out of the water.
Maybe, I don't know. It just felt like he climbed himself up, or like he grabbed on, they pulled up.
He's got a little bit of leeway in the chain, though. He can get a little bit higher, so he can get out of the water. But that's not my problem, though. My problem is that, so it cuts from him hugging, we need to help my friend. Yeah. Cuts to John, rope comes down. It's a really quick shot, and then it cuts to them standing around, and he's got a towel around him. I'm like,
that it?
That was quick. That was easy.
Yeah.
I'm like, we spent 5 minutes, 10 minutes on that grenade scene earlier on that we didn't really need. We could have just skipped past that, and that just goes by like that. It felt like there was bits missing. It felt like the editing had cut.
I felt like that throughout the middle chunk was fine, like in the rooms, but the start and the end, I feel like there was just chunks missing all over the place.
Yeah, it felt really weird. It felt like they'd shot like half an hour extra and a little crap. We need to cut like 30 minutes out of this, and all that just get gutted. That's what it feels like.
It felt weird.
My other two complaints, like I get they try and shoehorn in the last 5 minutes of this. They try and turn it into, oh, if this is the last ever episode, we're going to give it this sense of closure at the end. Even though, don't get me wrong, I like Sherlock going to his sister and playing violin with her. You know, it's a nice moment, and hey ho. Right, but then they try and truncate this, like, this is a conclusion, this is a little epilogue at the end here, this little wrap up. Oh, the legend of Sherlock and Watson will go on, and they get a new DVD from Mary, and it starts with PS, and I'm like, why would she send a separate why would she have two? This is really convoluted. Why would she have two DVDs? Why would she send a separate one and arrange it to arrive later? Other than for the reason for us to get this at the end of the next episode.
The reason is she was like, well, sure, they're going to be fighting, and we're going to have to make John save Sherlock so that they can be friends again, and they can't have this DVD till after that, because otherwise this makes no sense from a thematic point of view. So I'm going to guess about how long it's going to take them to make up, and then send it them.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
That is bullshit, but that is literally it.
It's bullshit. There is no reason for her to have sent a separate DVD with the second message that will arrive later. I mean, is she predicting like 2 weeks ahead, like Sherlock can?
Well, she must be. She must be going, well, I mean, yeah, I reckon it'll take them about 3 weeks to get over all this.
And the other problem as well is the way she speaks about it. Because obviously, there's a nice moment from Watson early on in the episode when he says to Mycroft, well, you've got no place left to turn, there's one place you can go. Baker Street, you know, he sets that up, and it's a nice little sort of nod to the legend of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, right? Yeah. But her speech at the end, it just kind of felt so meta. It was like,
was really on the nose, wasn't
It
it?
was on the nose, like, yeah, someone who's read the books would say this. This is something weird for someone in the universe to say this speech.
Yeah.
And we get this montage of them helping various people, and Sherlock hugging, Watson's kid, and all this stuff going on. This montage of like, oh, they're going to be solving cases for years, and this is the ending. And then again, I laughed at the end. The final shot is another Batman-esque shot. Specifically, do you remember how Batman Forever and Batman and Robin ended?
Yes.
Right, the final shots of those.
Yeah.
It cut to like Batman and Robin running in front of the bat signal with the capes flapping around. That's what the final shot of this reminded me of. It cuts to
and
them.
then the freeze frame.
It cuts to them running in slow motion and their coats looking like capes going up, and it's a Dutch angle.
Yeah.
And it freeze frames, and then goes to credits.
Right. It was weird.
It reminded me so much of like cheesy Batman.
Do you know what's interesting? You say, "Oh, I felt like they're doing all this closure thing." I didn't actually get that. What I thought they were doing is they were going, "Oh, okay, we know we're not going to get another series after this because these are busy, but we might squeeze some specials. So let's set it up so that the specials can all just be cases."
I don't think it's closing off the possibility that there can be more.
No, I just felt like the entire purpose was just to reset it almost to any more stories can just be adventures, but it doesn't have to be anything else. It was like a reset button.
Well, it kind of is, but I think it works as closure. Like, if they never do another episode, the whole point of this final thing is that it makes it okay. Sure, they can do specials. It leaves it open for that. It leaves it wide open for that. But, and I think the problem that I have with this final little epilogue thing is that it doesn't really feel like it fits the rest of the episode.
It doesn't, because it is just a random bit on a DVD having a speech that makes no sense to do with anything.
Yeah, it feels so tacked on. But I wouldn't mind having like a little epilogue like this if it truly felt like a final to everything that had happened in the show. But it didn't really feel like that because the sister thing's something that's kind of tacked on this season. It's like, I know we've thought of this for this year, but it doesn't really feel like it's the grand finale of everything. And that kind of leads us back to them killing Moriarty too soon. And if we could actually have had Moriarty back for the final story, and it felt like the conclusion to everything that it started at the start.
That is why I feel like they were insinuating she was involved in all of that. That this ending is part of why I feel that, because if you have her being involved and her behind it all, she is retroactively behind everything in season 1 and onwards. She's behind the whole show. Therefore, this is a closure of everything because of that.
If that was the intention, they did not sell that properly.
See, that's the part. That's why I feel like it was meant to be like that. But that is just incredibly unsatisfying and actually makes me angry.
But they didn't actually bring that. I get why you're saying that, but I don't think they actually properly conveyed that. If they really wanted to go for that and they really wanted this to, like, oh, it was a 4-year or 4-season thing all along, and it was all going back. Yeah, it's more like 8 years, but it was going all the way back to her at the beginning, and she's the true mastermind behind it all. Because the truth is I actually like her on a vacuum. Her as a crazy sister, crazy person who's this psychotic and this manipulative and this, batshit insane. I like her. And I think she does a good job
I do as
at
well.
it.
The problem is that they just threw her in last second because they were like, oh, well, we need a new villain, so, let's do this one.
That is. So, look at this season. We had an episode that focused on Mary's past, which we did not like. We didn't like when they revealed that she was like a spy or whatever. We hated that she wasn't just a normal person. That was annoying.
Yeah, that was back in season 3. We hated that then.
Yeah, but they revolved an entire first episode around that backstory.
Yeah.
And it led to a really convoluted death and whatever else. Second episode had a better idea for the villain, but it forced a lot of other things. And the ending specifically that revealed the sister felt super convoluted. It brought in the thing from the first episode that we predicted was going to be connected to everything else, and and didn't want that to happen. And then this episode, and it has this, and it was mostly good, other than these like 1 or 2 complaints at the start and the end, right? And the problem with this is, all I can think is, you could have still had this episode if the first one had just been a case that was fun.
Yeah.
The second one had the same villain, but just removed some of the other elements, and you went with this idea that there's a famous killer that Sherlock's convinced is a killer. You go with that fun episode, and then you just put a tease. You don't have to do the big taking off the earrings. And
if you ignore most of the stuff from last week, right, but leave in the bit of Mycroft and John, figuring out from Mycroft's line, and then you start this with Sherlock investigating and questioning Mycroft in a similar way to how he does in this, that would have been fine. That would have been enough. You didn't need all this stuff from before.
All you would have needed, maybe beyond that, would maybe be something like Sherlock, maybe remembering the word Redbeard throughout the season. Something small like that. Like the memory was coming back. Like he was remembering some things, and it was just a small subplot.
Yeah.
But instead, we got all this really forced stuff so that we'd feel super impressed when they reveal it all.
I think that's one of my biggest problems with it, that it's so easy for them. Like, it's so obvious how this could have worked so much better. Yeah. And that it's more infuriating, because it's not like if this was the best they could have done, you kind of go, all right, whatever, you tried. But it's like, it's so clear that you can just, with a few tweaks, refocus, and this would have been so much better.
Mary's backstory is just bad. I don't know how to fix that. But as far as the sister stuff goes, the build up to that and the overall plot, it's a simple case of less is more. And they added too much in, and it made it more convoluted than it needed to be, because they wanted these big moments that just kind of fell flat, at least for us. And as a result, it didn't work as well as it could have. And that's why we can look at it and say, oh, it would have worked better if they did this and this and took that out, because it's that simple. We can see where the extra things are. And
yeah, I do feel that the core problem with this season is Moffat and Gatiss got too big, too popular, and editors didn't want to say no. At its core, that's why I love it. It feels like they got free reign and they kind of ran away with it.
Yeah, they had carte blanche, and it felt like they needed someone to say, no, that's stupid.
Just rein it in, tone it down, simplify it. Because that's all we've done. You just streamline it a bit, spread it out throughout the first two instead of this dump at the end of the second one. Problem solved for like a large part of our problems anyway.
Yeah, and smaller things, not the bigger things they did with, and like I said, I don't even think she had to have ever left the place. I think it's even more interesting if she was just masterminding it all from there.
I think it almost felt like that in this. I never got, other than them telling us that she'd left, I never got the impression that she had.
Yeah. I guess all the clues are there to explain how she did leave. She obviously she's controlling multiple people. She's controlling the guy who's running the place.
Yeah, so she just shipped her out and let him crawl back. Whatever.
But it's so much and I'm like, but we don't actually need this. Almost like it's almost more impressive if she's done this all from behind a cell.
Yeah, the only reason that she's left is essentially so we can have moments in the previous two episodes.
Pretty much. But it is almost more interesting if it is just her. She's playing chess with all these people, essentially. Yeah. And she doesn't need to be outside for that. She can do that she can have the board and just move the pieces, and it happens.
Yeah, and it's kind of what annoys me about the end of the second episode, in retrospect, because of this. She feels in control here. She has masterminded everything. This year, this plan has gone back years for her, clearly. Mm. And at the end of it, then she went out and went to be a therapist for John to shoot him with a tranquilizer. Why?
To make a grand entrance so that so that Sherlock would know she exists. Like, I guess that's what they're saying.
Yeah, but couldn't she have done it a bit more subtle? Had some more mind games and fun with it. That kind of seems more her MO.
I guess that's what the visit to Sherlock at the start of the episode was about. They went and had chips, as he brought up again.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. It didn't.
But again, yeah, the thing about that though is that it means that she then was like relying on this other random killer.
Like the idea that if she'd dropped Sherringford, like if she'd played the game and got that information to him, and kind of just the idea that he'd see the word around and he'd investigate, and that would lead him to this.
Yeah. It's a nice touch that she's in a place called that though, because that's the name of the third brother,
right?
In the books or in the extended fiction, however it popped up,
right?
But
yeah, that's nice. But I just feel like they overcomplicate it.
They overcomplicate it.
They tried to be, this is super impressive because it's Sherlock, and it didn't always need to be.
Less is more. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Less is more. But now, as much as we're complaining about the season as a whole, like, majority of this episode was actually pretty good. It was the best of the season. It was fun seeing Moriarty and his, like, not so much the clips of him saying TikTok and stuff, but the actual scene of him seeing him arrive and deducting why he was there and saying.
And it kind of makes me miss when he was the show.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
I mean, I think we're in agreement. It's the best of the three,
Oh,
undoubtedly.
absolutely. It is easily the best of the three.
Yeah. I mean, there was stuff that we really liked in this. It's just that
Yeah.
there are a lot of problems as well that are mostly unnecessary, which is infuriating.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could have cut them going in disguise. You could have cut the grenade bit. You could have just had them go straight there, walk in, and it would have given more time to some of the later bits. Or you could have just had some more intrigue as they were arriving, rather than all these quick cuts and fancy.
Yeah, like, I'd have really liked keep the bit with Mycroft at the start, and then go from there. Mycroft admits what's going on, and then he just flies them to the prison, whatever.
Yeah.
And then still leave that middle section pretty much the same. Like, I'd leave it as it is, but just give us a bit more after. Like, we were saying, the edits where they're rescuing John, it just felt really rushed, and they were just like a clip show almost. They were just kind of trying to get through it all.
Yeah.
Like, just spend some time there.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah.
I think it's especially more annoying if it's trying to work as a final episode to the show, where this end part, this wrap up, should feel like it's encompassing 4 seasons worth, which is many years worth at this point. It should feel like this really big moment. It should feel heartwarming, all these things. But instead, I feel like they're just trying to rush through it. It's like, oh, quick, time's running out. Come on, let's hit all the beats.
Yeah, the last 5 minutes feels super rushed and just kind of tacked on.
Yeah, cut out most of that start, give an extra 10 minutes to the end. Problem solved.
Yeah, it doesn't fix the first 2 episodes. They've got their own problems, but
Yeah.
but it would fix this. That's what you needed to fix this one. But no, Euros was good. All the game stuff was good, and
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that was a kind of positive review of Sherlock. We are capable of them to an extent. So thanks very much for watching. Let us know what you thought of this one. The comments below, like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot. And yeah, maybe we'll have specials at some point. But otherwise, guys, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.